This is not something you normally see in Deserts of Kharak. This is something new. This is mods. And with one line of code here, I've just taken the boundary of this mountain away, and now my carry can go straight over it. He's going off the grid, or taking Roy off the grid. What do I need to get started today? We got a concept. I'm going to tell you about that concept. We're going to make a little mini game. It's LEVs versus blast drones, and I want it to be last unit standing, and let's play it on a very small map. Let's see if we can make that game today. Let's try it out. The first thing I'm going to do is determine the play area boundary of the map. I'm going to make them up, which I've already done, and I've made a little guide for myself, and then I'm going to enter them into my... The first thing I'm going to do is determine the first thing I'm going to do is create the play area boundary of my mini game, which means that I need to determine the boundary coordinates, which I've already done. I have a rough idea with this little guide here I've made in orange, and then I need to enter them into the layout via coordinates, and then we're going to test it afterwards. So to make the bounds, I'm going to use the bounds tag, which looks like this. Bounds has a top, a right, a bottom, and a left. And I'm just going to enter the coordinates in, and it will define the map as that big, as that size. So I'm going to go over here to the GitHub repository and look at the map tutorial. And I'm just going to copy and paste this line here because I know it already works. And I'm going to copy it and paste it into my layout. And then use these numbers as just a rough guess to get me started. You'll notice this little section here, optional, is actually a comment with this syntax of a less than sign, exclamation mark, dash, dash, and then you can put anything you want there, and then dash, dash, greater than sign. And well, not anything, but any text. Try not to put too many symbols. I'm not too sure about the syntax, but what commenting allows you to do, it tells the computer program to ignore the code that's inside there. And why you want that is just for note keeping for yourself, like what was I doing here? Or if somebody else comes across your code on the internet and wants to adjust it, they know what you're trying to do in this segment of the code. So that's the bound section done. Next, we're going to try and throw in some units. We've already chosen the LAV and the blast drone. We need to get the unit string from a list, and then we're going to test them. So here we are going, I'm going to use the this units tag that looks like this. It has an opener, a closing one, and then we can put as many lines as we want in here that look like this. Unit team. So the team is going to be team 1 or team 2, but in computer language, it starts actually at 0, and then 1 is the second one. So team 1 is team 0. And then the first player, so the first player to spawn in the game gets index of 0 because you're starting at 0 instead of 1. So 0, which team, which spawn order, so the first person into the game, and then type is that unit string that we got from the list. And we're not going to use the Gaussian fathership, that's a little overpowered, but we're going to use something else, and then the coordinates, just like the other examples we've done. And this last part, angle, is clockwise from 0 on the compass that you could see in the sensors menu. So I'm going to go over here and copy paste from the DOK repository. So I'm going to go over here and copy paste from the DOK repository under info and then units. And then I'm going to scroll down this list and grab me an LAV. I'm going to grab some exploding skimmers, which are blast drones, and then I'm just going to copy paste them back into my layout code. That's the unit tag. Finally, win conditions. I'm assuming, hopefully, that if we put on annihilation of all units with both sections set to none, it will have the game conditions where you can't just blow up all the blast drones and kill all the LEVs and win. That should be a loss, I think. Hopefully. My justification is that if you hit, you're exploding the blast drone, it should blow up and die before it kills the things around it, right? That makes sense to me. Anyhow, so let's try it out. Cool, so I got Buddy here, Empty Soul, to help me try this out. He said, sure, cool, that's great. I tried with the Nun faction and it dropped, didn't work. Apparently that's not how the Nun factions work. I think maybe you can't have them both on both teams. And this is also what modding is about. It's about just trying stuff and figuring out what works and what doesn't. And keep a backup so you can just restore it and keep on going. So I have an idea for a workaround, and that's to go and put your carriers in the different zones and then turret them to death so they die really quickly. And you both got to start as Knef, so that if you put in random, then you get the blast drones to spawn. Otherwise, they are DLC and they don't spawn unless somebody in the game is of that faction. So that's all for today. I'll show you what that's going to look like soon.